Hey, Sunny. What's up? Anything strange happening lately? Like you walked into your kitchen and were like, wait, what is that thing making all that noise?
You are not going to believe this. This morning I was making my coffee, same as always for I don't know, years. And it hit me like, bam. What is that contraption on my counter? I swear I had a moment of like, what is that thing? It was so bizarre.
No way. That's crazy. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Sip and Talk. You know, that kind of reminds me of something I read about the other day. It's called Vuja Day.
Vuja Day. Sounds like deja vu, but weirder. What is that all about?
It's like exactly the opposite of deja vu. You know, deja vu is when something feels familiar, even though it shouldn't. Vuja Day is when something super familiar suddenly feels totally new or just strange, like your coffee maker situation. Apparently, George Carlin, that comedian, he came up with the term, and then all the innovation people were like, whoa, that's a thing. And basically, it's all about looking at something you see all the time as if you're seeing it for the very first time.
Okay, Vuja Day. Interesting. But why would we want to make the familiar feel strange? Wouldn't that be, confusing?
Yeah, good question. I mean, our brains love routine and the familiar, right? But this article I was reading said that's exactly why Vuja Day is so useful. It shakes up our thinking.
Yeah.
We get so used to seeing the same things every day that we stop really seeing them. Vuja Day is like hitting the reset button on your brain. Think about it like when you drive to work, you're basically on autopilot.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Right.
I could probably drive there blindfolded. Well, maybe not, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. But imagine one day you're driving and you actually look around and you notice something you've never seen before, like an old building with cool architecture or like a piece of street art you never noticed. That's Vuja Day in action. It's about switching from just recognizing things to really observing them.
I get it. It's like when you've heard a song a million times and you're not really listening to the words anymore, and then one day you actually listen and you're like, whoa, this song is about something totally different than I thought.
Exactly. And it's not just about noticing something new on your commute. This new perspective, this Vuja Day thing, can really boost your creativity. When we get stuck in our routines and start thinking this is just how things are, or this is how it's always been done, we're kind of putting limits on our imagination, right?
But what if you look at something really ordinary, like a paperclip, let's say, as if you've never seen one before? Maybe you'd come up with all sorts of crazy new ways to use it.
Yeah, like a paperclip could be a tiny phone stand or a tool to reset your router.
That's what I'm talking about. It's all about seeing the potential in the everyday things around us, finding new possibilities where we usually just see the same old, same old. And you know what else? Vuja Day can even help with problem solving.
Oh, really? Tell me more about that. When the usual ways of doing things just aren't working, Vuja Day can help you see the problem from a completely different angle. Imagine a company that's been making the same product for years right now, and sales are starting to slump. What if they looked at their own product as if they were a brand new customer seeing it for the first time? They might discover a flaw or something annoying that they've been completely blind to because they're so used to it.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's like taking a step back and looking at things with fresh eyes.
Exactly. The article even gave a real-world example. They talked about Airbnb. Think about it. The idea of staying in someone else's house wasn't exactly revolutionary. People have been doing that forever with bed and breakfasts and stuff.
Yeah, true. It's not like they invented the concept of sleeping somewhere other than your own house.
Right. But they looked at this familiar thing with fresh eyes and saw a huge opportunity. They saw all these unused spaces and all these people who wanted a different kind of travel experience, more authentic and connected to the local community. And boom, Airbnb was born. They took something ordinary and made it extraordinary just by shifting their perspective. What's interesting here is how they turned the whole idea of hospitality on its head.
I love that. So Vuja Day is like a mental superpower. But how do we actually do it? How do we make ourselves see the familiar as strange? I can't just snap my fingers and suddenly my commute is an adventure.
I hear you. It takes a little effort and practice. This article has some good tips, though. One was to literally change your physical perspective. Pretend you're a tourist in your own town. Walk around your neighborhood and look at everything as if you've never seen it before.
Oh, yeah. When you travel, you notice all sorts of little details and quirky things that you'd probably never even see if you were just going about your normal routine.
Exactly. Another tip was to tap into your inner child. Imagine you're a kid seeing something for the first time. Ask yourself the questions a kid would ask. Why is the sky blue? Or how does a car work? That kind of curiosity can really help you see things in a new light.
Kids are the masters of Vuja Day. They're always asking why and how.
They are. Another cool technique they suggested was to write down your assumptions about something familiar, and then try to argue against your own points. Like, let's say you always take the same route to the grocery store because you think it's the fastest. Challenge that assumption. Maybe there's a more scenic route that's actually faster. You never know until you try.
Well, that's like being your own debate opponent. I like that.
Right. And they also talked about the importance of breaking your routines. Take a different route to work, change the order you do things in the morning, even just sit in a different spot at your desk. When you shake things up, your brain has to pay attention because it can't rely on autopilot anymore.
Yeah, even just rearranging my desk can make my workspace feel a little bit different.
For sure. And maybe the most important tip of all is to ask questions, like all the time. Ask yourself, is there another way to look at this? Or what am I missing here? And really engage your senses. When you're doing something familiar, really listen to the sounds, smell. The smells, feel the textures. It's amazing how much we miss when we're just going through the motions.
It's like mindfulness for everyday life. I love it. And it's funny you should mention mindfulness because speaking of trying new things and seeing the world in a new way, our friend Micky Wright.
Oh, yeah, Micky. What's he up to these days?
Well, he's got this really cool YouTube channel you should check out. It's called Mickytolife, and it's all about travel and whiskey and music.
Micky and whiskey. That's like a dangerous combination.
Yeah. But seriously, his whiskey reviews are hilarious and really insightful. He's got a way of describing flavors that's like poetry. And he travels to all these amazing places and makes these really fun travel vlogs. Plus, he's a talented musician, so he shares his original music on the channel, too. It's a great mix of stuff. You should definitely subscribe.
I'm sold. I'll check it out. And for anyone listening, you should, too. Just search for Mickytolife on YouTube and tell him we sent you.
Okay, so we've been talking about Vuja Day and how it can help us see the world in a new way. But it also got me thinking about the opposite of Vuja Day, déjà vu. Have you ever experienced that?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It's so weird, right?
Yeah.
That feeling like you've been somewhere or done something before, even though you know you haven't. It's like a glitch in the matrix.
Right. It's that sudden, intense feeling of familiarity in a totally new situation. Like you walk into a coffee shop you've never been to before, but it feels like you know exactly where everything is and what's going to happen next.
I know exactly what you mean. It's so strange. So what causes déjà vu? Is it like a brain fart or something?
Well, scientists don't know for sure, but there are a few theories. One is that it's a kind of memory misfire, like the part of your brain that processes new experiences and the part that stores memories get a little crossed up. It's like your brain accidentally files a new experience in the wrong folder, so it feels like a memory.
A memory mix-up. Makes sense.
Another theory is that maybe the two sides of your brain process information at slightly different speeds, and that tiny delay creates the feeling of experiencing something twice.
Whoa, that's trippy. Like an echo in your brain?
I know, right? And some scientists think that déjà vu might be triggered by a small detail in the environment that subconsciously reminds you of a past experience, like a certain smell or sound. Your brain then kind of fills in the blanks and creates this overall feeling of familiarity. It's like a little trigger that sets off a bigger emotional response. And you know what? It's super common. Like 60 to 70% of people have experienced déjà vu at least once in their lives.
That many? Wow, I had no idea. So déjà vu is like this weird passive thing that just happens. But what about lucid dreaming? That seems like the opposite of passive.
Yeah, lucid dreaming is totally different. It's when you become aware that you're dreaming while you're still in the dream. And sometimes you can even control what happens in the dream.
That's so cool. Like you could fly or something.
Exactly. It's like being in a virtual reality game where you know it's not real, but you can still do whatever you want. It usually happens during REM sleep when your brain is super active, but your body is paralyzed. And for lucid dreaming to occur, the part of your brain that's responsible for self-awareness and decision-making has to become active during the dream.
So it's like a part of your brain wakes up inside the dream. That's wild.
Yeah.
How do people do that? Is there like a secret trick?
Some people do it naturally, especially if they're very self-aware and introspective. But there are also techniques you can try. One is called reality testing. Throughout the day, you ask yourself, am I dreaming? And then you do something that wouldn't work in a dream, like trying to push your finger through your palm. If you do this regularly, you might start doing it in your dream, and that's how you realize you're dreaming.
That's a clever trick. I'm going to try that.
You should. There's also a technique called MILD, which stands for memory-induced lucid dreaming. Before you go to sleep, you repeat the phrase, "Tonight I will remember that I am dreaming," and you try to visualize yourself having a lucid dream. And there's also the wake back to bed method, where you wake up after a few hours of sleep, stay awake for a bit, and then go back to sleep. This can increase your chances of having a lucid dream. And there are even gadgets now, like special eye masks that can detect when you're in REM sleep and give you a little signal to remind you that you're dreaming.
Wow, that's high tech.
Yeah.
So what's the point of lucid dreaming? Is it just for fun, or is there something more to it?
It can definitely be fun. But people also use it for other reasons, like to explore their creativity, confront their fears, practice skills, and even work through problems in their waking lives. And there's even research suggesting that lucid dreaming could have therapeutic benefits for people with PTSD or anxiety. It's a fascinating area of research. The possibilities with lucid dreaming are truly incredible.
So we've talked about Vuja, which is all about making the familiar strange. And we've talked about déjà vu, which is that weird feeling of familiarity with the new. And then there's lucid dreaming, where you're aware and in control inside your dreams. These are all such fascinating ways that our brains mess with our perception of reality.
Right. It's all about the interplay between familiarity, control, and memory. And it makes you wonder what other tricks our brains are playing on us that we don't even realize.
It really does. So thinking about all this, what's one familiar thing in your life that you could look at with Vuja Day eyes right now? What might you discover if you really looked at it with fresh eyes?
That's a good question. Maybe in my morning routine, I do the same thing every morning without even thinking about it. I wonder what I'd notice if I really paid attention.
You should try it. You might be surprised. And for all of you listening, we challenge you to do the same. Pick one thing you do or see every day and try to look at it as if you've never seen it before. You might discover something new and amazing. And if you've ever had a crazy déjà vu experience or even a lucid dream, we'd love to hear about it. Head over to our social media and share your stories with us.
We're always up for a good brain-bending tale. Until next time, keep those minds open and those perspectives shifting.
See you next time.